With Jurassic World Rebirth roaring into theaters, let's talk about all 7 of the Jurassic Park installments and rank them from best, which I think is obvious, to worst. And I did something that I never thought I'd do for this video. I rewatched every Jurassic Park movie in anticipation for this video. And some of them I feel like I learned a little bit more and had some appreciation for elements within it. Some of them, to quote Jeff Goldblum's character, Dr. Ian Malkin,
that is one big pile of shit.
So without further ado, let's jump over. We're going to be doing some tier ranking, and make sure you let me know in the video as it goes along what I've gotten right, what I've gotten wrong, what you agree, what you disagree with. So let's talk about the categories. Today we have 4. We have all-timer. I think we all know what's about to go in there. We have watchable, which is as it sounds. This is one where I don't know if these movies are good per se, but I think they're very easy to watch. We have Exist. This is kind of a mean, snarky one. This is me just saying that this movie exists. It's kind of a nothing for me. And then we have God Awful. There is a few God Awful Jurassic Park films that we're going to be talking about today. And without further ado, I know I always try to go from worst to best, but for a video like this, there's no anticipation. We all know what's going number 1, so there's no reason to like delay it. So let's just kind of get it out of the way. Jurassic Park is obviously the all-timer. It is what this series and franchise is in debt to. And this is an incredible Spielberg movie. Rewatching it again, and I actually got the opportunity to see this movie in theaters for the first time a year ago. And there is something so spectacular about the movie and the grandeur / scale that this movie is achieving, that Spielberg is able to command in 1990s Hollywood, and just everything from it, from the cast, which I think is all wonderful. I think that all of these characters come to life in this movie. And just the first time seeing dinosaurs, there's something really magical about this. I just was in Hawaii on the island of Oahu, and I got to go to Kalua Ranch, I believe is how you pronounce it. And there you got to see places where Jurassic Park is filmed, and to just see moments like this and like this world come to life on screen. I just think it's magical. It's the beauty. It's what Spielberg is able to capture. There's so much that I can say about Jurassic Park that I won't dive into today, but ultimately this is the perfect combination of script, actors, and directors coming together to make something that is just so deeply impactful for anyone who got to see this, especially at a certain age. I saw this movie way too young, and I remember it scared the crap out of me. And it's a movie that still has those thrills rewatching it today. So Jurassic Park, all-timer, that's the number 1. So now the real question is, what is 2 through 7? So let's now just start with the worst. So we have The Lost World, we have Jurassic Park 3, we have Jurassic World, we have Jurassic World The Fallen Kingdom, we have Jurassic World Dominion, and we have Jurassic World Rebirth. We are now officially at the point where there's more Jurassic World movies than there are Jurassic Park movies. Let's go with God Awful, this category. What is the worst Jurassic World movie? And tipped my hat there by accident. And you guys can let me know in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe. But what is the worst one to me? And I've kind of implied it, in fact, maybe even like plainly stated it in my review for Jurassic World Rebirth. By far the worst piece of crap in this franchise is Jurassic World Dominion. This is Colin Trevorrow returning to the franchise after directing the first film in 2015 of the reboot series. Jurassic World Dominion is one of the worst theater going experiences I've ever had. This movie is so stupid, and like, not in a, oh, this movie's kind of dumb and like the characters are just like doing dumb things. It's like, no, the fact that like this movie cost as much money as it did, and it's just so poorly paced, it's so poorly written, it's so poorly directed, it's so poorly acted. It's kind of just shocking how bad this movie is. It's really surreal thinking about my experience watching this movie. It's not that this movie is just like bad. It's the fact that this movie is incompetent, which that's a huge task to overcome in Hollywood. Like, you know, there's so many people like watching over these things. Usually they're a slog sometimes, like a big studio movie is a slog to make, and it just ends up being disastrous. Nothing is like this. I will contend this is the worst franchise entertainment of the 21st century is Jurassic World Dominion. I think this is worse than the sequel trilogies from Star Wars. I think this is worse than the worst of the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. I think this is worse than Michael Bay Transformers films. Go up and down the list. I think this is worse than the Fantastic Beast films. There is not a franchise that has a worse installment than Jurassic World Dominion. That's not me over exaggerating. Watching this movie, this is how I felt. I was like, oh my God, this franchise will never recover from Jurassic World Dominion. I just think Colin Trevorrow is a complete hack. He has no idea how to make this movie. It's such a mess. It's such a disaster. Rewatching it, it was truly a painful, pitiful experience for me. So that is god awful. I don't think any film on this list comes close to Jurassic World Dominion, which is quite literally me being generous, half a star out of 5. So Jurassic World Dominion comes in at number 7, which what is number 6 on this list? And I was doing some thinking. It was between a few films, but ultimately I just had to go number 6, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, which I am also kind of putting in the god awful category. I want to spend some time defending this movie. Here's what I will say. This movie is directed by J.A. Bayona. It's the only one of this Jurassic World trilogy that is not directed by Trevorrow, and I think it shows. There are some qualities that J.A. Bayona gets well. I think he is actually a fairly competent director. He directed a movie in 2016 that I quite liked, A Monster's Call. He's done other films like The Impossible that I think are pretty serviceably good movies. And with that said, there is some emotional stake. There is some devastation when we go onto this island and see the dinosaurs essentially being killed off. There is this scene where a volcano goes off, and it's quite upsetting. And I don't know if I like this. I found it a little too upsetting, especially seeing some of these dinosaurs just killed off in this horrific fashion. But I do think there is competent action set pieces in this film. So that is what I want to say benefits this movie. Is there is some J.A. Bayona direction in it that I see that is far more inspired than anything else Trevorrow gives us. That's where my compliments have to end, because I think this is just a downgrade from Jurassic World, which we'll get to in a second. Ultimately, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom has worse special effects than Jurassic World. It has worse acting than Jurassic World, but specifically the thing that it gets so wrong is the script. This is a disastrous script. Jurassic World, for all of its faults that we'll get to in a second, is a movie that is at least pretty streamlined. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom and then later Jurassic World Dominion like expands on it is just an extremely convoluted movie. This is a movie that has a dinosaur auction, which again I think is not a poorly staged scene by JA. I think he has moments again of structure in this movie that can be kind of interesting, but it's just a really dumb script. So even like this auction scene, which again has some moments of direction that I like, I just think is ultimately really dumb. And specifically, this is where the franchise becomes a mess when they introduce this cloning element, this human cloning element that comes in. This is when it just jumps the shark. This is when they never recover in my book. And this is kind of what leads to Dominion being as bad as it is this continuation of this storyline. So ultimately, there are qualities that I can say are redeeming of sort with Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, but it's bad is so bad that I can't really defend that movie anymore. I said Dominion's like half a star. I think Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom is somewhere between like that 1.5 to 2 star range. But the ending and the script is literally just as bad as Dominion. So it's not worth much praise here. But that's number 6. So let's talk about number 5. And I think this is where we're moving out of the god awful categories. I think there's a lot of exist within this category. I'm kind of shocked that I'm doing this because I was really hoping upon rewatch, I was just going to be like, you know what? Like, it does not live up to the other films and specifically the first film. But, like, like Steven Spielberg is returning to the Lost World, Jurassic Park in like 1997, I think is the year. So I'm like, how bad can this movie be? And it had been a number of years since I had rewatched it. And I rewatched it last night. I was like, Really, like this movie's this bad. And here's what I want to say. Coming in at number 5 with this movie, The Lost World Jurassic Park, which I've always just contended is a really stupid title. Jurassic Park, The Lost World, like fits so much better as a title. But ultimately, like this movie does have Spielberg at the helm. So there are moments of quality within it. There is some Spielberg magic in here. This is him kind of just making a monster movie. This would be like him directing Godzilla versus Kong, but without the script and geniusness that makes the first Jurassic Park movie special. It's a fundamental misunderstanding, I think, of what makes Jurassic Park good, which is, again, so much of that first movie is the script. And this movie has action sequences that I think are fine. Like the San Diego set piece in the third act has its moments. There are real terrifying moments with the dinosaurs. Like this movie isn't terrible. I do think the performances are really weird. Jeff Goldblum is obviously Jeff Goldblum in this movie. He's doing it to the max, which I like. I like Jeff Goldblum a lot, and I like him as Dr. Ian Malkin. Vince Vaughn is bad in this movie. I think Julianne Moore is in a different movie than the rest of this cast. Like, it is just kind of a misfit of stuff that just doesn't work. There are moments that I find exciting, but just nothing that really got me like ramped, like juiced up, I guess you could say. So that's why I'm saying Lost World number 5, which then brings us to number 4. And this was kind of the one that I was just hoping. I'm like, can I get Jurassic World at number 4? I don't really want to say it's the third best movie because I think that's giving a lot of credit to Trevorrow, or maybe that's just downplaying this franchise and kind of its weaknesses. So I'm like, Jurassic Park 3. Haven't seen this since I was a kid. Don't remember this movie at all, which kind of implies that I watched it and just kind of forgot about it, which is not necessarily a great thing as a child to like, see a movie about dinosaurs and not have that imprinted in my mind. At least I remembered elements of The Lost World. So I was like, okay, here we go. Hour 39. Joe Johnston directing this movie. This is just going to be a lean, mean action film. I'm going to have fun with it. And I didn't. I did not have fun with Jurassic Park 3. I think, and I'm going to put this at number 4, so let's make that clear. Here's what I will say in this film's benefit. This is the pure monster movie. This is, let's make an hour and a half movie of dinosaurs kind of wrecking shop. Not much else thought about it. No real script. Some of the characters are fleshed out. Like it is nice to see Sam Neill back in this world. It is nice to see William H. Macy in this movie. Like there are competent actors in it, but ultimately this really stunk of early 2000s. I think this movie just looks bad. It is just so poorly lit. It's poorly staged. Like I didn't have any real fun with this movie. So, yes, it is compact and there are thrills to be had at that. And so, for that, I like it a little bit more than I like The Lost World. You're in quicker, you're out quicker. There is a pace that this movie is able to upkeep. And yes, I do think this is probably the closest that we get to a true monster film. So in that quality, there is like this genre-ness to this movie that I think has fun in it. I don't think it's a good movie though. So that's why Jurassic Park 3 is coming on this list. So now we're left with Jurassic World and Jurassic World Rebirth, which let's just get to number 3. I already kind of implied I didn't want to put it here. Jurassic World. So let me just kind of say my experience with this movie. I remember watching this movie, I think opening weekend in theaters. Ultimately, this is not a bad movie. I think this is a pretty watchable movie, which is why it goes into this category. I think as time goes on, some of the sins of this movie is what plagues this franchise forever and has done irreparable damage to this franchise. But ultimately, I like enough of this movie. I think the concept of the park being open to the public and the park going awry works. Now, I will just say, upon rewatch, I really did not remember this movie. I saw scenes, I'm like, "Really? That happens? I did not remember that." Like, I remember some of the scenes, like, there's the vicious scene that happens when the park goes haywire that involves the assistant character just being, like, lifted up and killed in, like, one of the most horrific ways that, like, is usually, like, reserved for a really bad person in these series, and it's just, like, done to, like, some nice random lady. Uh, there are moments of that. I actually think Chris Pratt has pretty good instincts in this first movie. I think his performances get worse and worse as this franchise goes along, but in this first movie, I like him well enough as a lead. It's Bryce Dallas Howard is not good in any of these movies. Ultimately, like, I think this movie is watchable for sure. Like, I don't think this is necessarily a bad movie. I think there is the subplot in this movie, which I believe it's Vincent D'Onofrio is the actor who's like trying to militarize dinosaurs. It's so dumb. And it kind of comes back in the third act, and like that's where this gets a little stupid. But like ultimately, this is the closest I think that we have to like a try and true like Godzilla versus Kong, like any of these monster films. I think this one is like the one that's just like, okay, this is what the movie is. You're gonna accept it. Like, there's a lot of fun to be had in this if you're willing to accept what this is accomplishing. So that's why it's number three. I'd give it probably a pretty generous 3 stars. And then ultimately, and let's move those, Jurassic World Rebirth, the new one. I do have this as my number two, and I'm seeing the divisive reviews of this movie online. I totally get it. Here's what I will say, and it's the reason that I don't think this is like Jurassic World Rebirth is going to be accused of being a great movie. I think this is a pretty fun movie. I think this is the closest that does just come to this idea of like, let's just strip this franchise of all the mess and just go straight to the meat and potatoes of this, which is dinosaurs hunting and killing people. That's all this franchise like really can be now. Like, I don't think we're ever going to get anything as close to the quality of Jurassic Park. I think what we are striving for is a fun summer blockbuster, which I think Jurassic World Rebirth delivered, and especially delivered it for me. I think that's due to a few things, and I already shouted him out in my review, which you can check out on my channel. Subscribe to this channel if you want. But one of the things was I thought this movie was just better directed than anything that we had seen under the Trevorrow reign. This has competent action. This has competent lighting. This has competent scares. This is one that is actually going for tension, and I actually think delivers on it. There are really good set pieces in this movie, like the T Rex raft sequence in this movie, which I don't want to get into much details on, is good. Like, this is a really thrilling sequence. There is a lot of that in this movie. It's smartly staged at moments. I do think the first 30 minutes are very slow, but once we get to the island, I had quite a big smile on my face for a lot of it. So, yes, does this movie have weaknesses? I'm not going to deny it. Does this movie ultimately work for me? I did have quite a lot of fun with this. I do think Scarlett Johansson, Jonathan Bailey, Eva Herschel Ali. I've heard some people like be pretty critical of this. Honestly, I think there were some critics who were just never going to care for this movie and were already like ready to have the knife sharpened for this movie. Ultimately, this is a pretty huge step up for this franchise. It was one that I quite enjoyed and I had a good time with. Again, it's not Jurassic Park, and this franchise will never be that, despite my like hopes. But ultimately, if we're going like this is this type of movie, I thought this was like, and again, I keep referencing this Godzilla versus Kong, this monster universe that Warner Brothers has been establishing. I don't think any of those movies are particularly good. If you were to compare those movies to Jurassic World Rebirth, I think Rebirth is just by far my favorite of these. So that kind of just speaks to what this movie is able to deliver on. I do think it is a stripped down version of something that I was able to enjoy. And without thinking too critically on it, just had fun watching this movie. So ultimately, that is my ranking for these films. Jurassic Park number one, Jurassic World Rebirth number two, Jurassic World number three, Jurassic Park three number four, The Lost World Jurassic Park number five, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom number six, and coming dead last, Jurassic World Dominion. So that's my ranking. Thank you to everyone who watched. Hope you subscribe to my channel. I definitely will be having some more reviews out. I haven't figured out what I'm doing this weekend, but I think it will be 4th of July themed. If not, I would say uber patriotic. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do yet, but I do have something in mind that may be a little bit controversial. So make sure you subscribe to this channel for more. And thank you so much for watching.